Let's review some of the ways that you can look at different views within a document. So the very first one that we're going to look at, and this one should be relatively familiar, is just looking at the detailing. I can select this and I can go to coarse detail. And usually what that does, it just adjusts like the level of detail you're seeing within the walls. I can go back to fine detail. I can change my color scheme. I can just do hidden lines. So I want you to click through these again. As always, practice with these. Just get yourself familiar with where these are. You can also adjust the scale, and the scale essentially adjusts the text size, because what it allows us to do is put these on print sheets where the floor plan is the same, but the text doesn't look gigantic. So it kind of scales it down because we're printing it on a very large sheet of paper. Well, I'm going to leave mine at 1 to 20. We're going to set that as it was. The next thing I want us to take a look at is section view. So in the View tab, click on Section, and if I want to look at this interior wall, I can click here and then drag that tab to this side. If I actually wanted to be looking the other direction toward the exterior wall, you can see these double arrows. That allows me to flip the section. I can also adjust the depth that I'm seeing and how far left and right. So let's take a look at that section really quick. I open it up down here in the project browser, look at section 1, and you can see I could see through that exterior wall. So that's what's allowing me to see that exterior wall in here. Now, some of that background is a little distracting. So I can go back to my first floor and I can bring this section tab in. And now I'm not going to see that wall because my view ends right here. So let's take a look at that section again. And that makes it a little bit more clean if I'm interested in just seeing a cross section of this wall or these items inside here. So that's how we can create a section, also how you can flip a section. You should be pretty familiar with flipping things because we've done that with doors. These double arrows allow you to flip the orientation of whichever objects that you're using, doors, windows, section views, and things like that. So let's go down here. We're going to right click. I'm going to delete this section. I also want to show you how to duplicate views. So if we are in our first floor view, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see the text here. If I want another view that doesn't have all of this text, maybe I have text all over this floor, but I want another view that just shows the floor plan, I can right click, duplicate view with just the word duplicate, and it creates a duplicate without all of those details. Well, if you want the details, you can right click, duplicate view with detailing, and it will just essentially make a direct copy. Now, if I want to make a duplicate view as a dependent, so that everything I change in the initial plan also changes in this dependent, then that's what you would do. And that's why it's sort of like underneath that one. So there can be some various different uses for that. None that we've really seen with the projects we've worked on, but I just wanted you to be aware of that. You can do the same thing with elevations. You can right click and duplicate an elevation view. And depending on the detailing, you will be able to see different objects within those different viewpoints by duplicating views, duplicating with detailing, and so on. So the last thing that I want to show you, we're going to go back into first floor, and into first floor, as long as your properties panel says just floor plan here, then what we can do is we can go down here and we can look at the cut plane. So down here where underneath extents, it says view range, I want you to click on edit. And this is sort of an interesting option for us. It allows us to adjust the view range so we can see different objects within our floor plan. If I show you the show button here, this is sort of what we're adjusting. We are adjusting the view range, how far down and up we can see from the lowest part of the floor plan to the upper part of the floor plan. So let me just give you an example of what that means. My bottom level is 0 feet. That's sort of right at the carpet. My top level is set at 7'6" because essentially that's like the top level of where a door frame would be, a very, very tall door frame. Well, my cut plane, if I set this to 0 feet and I hit apply, watch what happens to my desks, my computers. They all disappear because we're not doing a cross section of those. So those all go away. Well, if I set it to 2 feet, my desks are going to reappear, but my computers don't because they're a little bit higher. So I'm actually below that cut plane to be able to see those. At 4 feet, all those computers appear. If I go too high, I want you to see what happens to these double doors. These double doors end at 6'8". So if I say 7, my double doors actually disappear because I'm above them now. So we're going to leave this at 4 foot, but what this would allow you to do, if you remember from your A residential home, if you tried to place an upper microwave or upper cabinets, they probably didn't show in that view because of the view range. But if we had adjusted our view range, raised it up to maybe 5 or 6 feet, then we probably would have been able to see those cabinets and microwave. So that's the use of the view plane and why it's a helpful tool.